pastor's patrol, just looking around, trying to see what they can see. Seriously, I love the church. We used to drive around at night to see where my car was parked. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I was reminded of the story of Pastoral magazine that I saw a while back. There was a busybody in this church of believers who like to keep stuff going. So she started a rumor on the pastor that he had a drinking problem. And folk asked her, why would you say that about the pastor? And she said, well, I saw his car parked late one night in the same block as a local tavern. But the only way the pastor could break this woman of her constant prying into his business is that he called one night a taxi to come to her home. And he met the taxi there, and he parked his car in front of her house. Parked the cab home and left the car in front of her house all night long. And half of the next day.
Oh boy.
I'm really serious. I'm really serious. This guy used to drive around and see what my car was. And my pastor told me constantly living in glass houses. So as long as you're living in a glass house, people are going to be throwing stones. And a lot of people throw stones and hide their hand. But he said, Tindall, my advice to you is this. Please, for God's sake, don't hand them a brick. Watch it 24/7. The text says all day and all night. Watching what Paul was doing. But when the Lord changes your life, when everybody ain't clapping and everybody's not happy, and some religious folk go to hating, if you go down to verse 26, point number 2 is when Paul came to Jerusalem, and please remember, write this down. I want you to look at it. Paul tells of himself over in Galatians verse 15 through 20. Look at it when you get home. Paul tells us himself he did not go to Jerusalem until 3 years after his conversion.
That's true. That's in the record.
Transformation takes time, y'all. In fact, if you read the whole book of Galatians, Paul got mad at those folks. See, transformation, your problems don't disappear overnight.
No.
You come into the church and when your God changes your life, it's a transformation, it's a period of time.
Yeah.
And it takes time. And some religious, happy, holy folk will look at you and expect you to have changed overnight. And it's not an overnight process. Paul got so mad up there in Galatians with them talking about circumcision, talking about how much of the foreskin you have to cut off. Paul said, I wish they would cut your whole Johnson off. It's in the book, y'all. It's in the book. Transformation takes time. 3 years after the Lord changed Paul's life, he went to Jerusalem and he attempted to join the disciples. The text says that they were afraid of him. They didn't believe he was a disciple. 3 years later, when the Lord changes your life, point number 2, everybody ain't gonna believe it, everybody could be convinced. Believers are sometimes the biggest I knew you when.
All right.
Believers in Jerusalem know Paul when he was an accomplice to murder. They knew him when. He was, when Paul was in Jerusalem, breathing out cruelties and threats. They knew him when. When he was raging in the church, they knew him when. The believers in Jerusalem knew Paul when he was going from house to house, putting men and women in prison, followers of Jesus, locking them up, throwing them in the joint. They knew him when 3 years later they were not convinced, and that they had heard about Damascus. They were not convinced. They had heard about his preaching, but they were not convinced. When the Lord changes your life, every believer ain't clapping, everybody ain't convinced, everybody ain't gonna believe your report. But when the Lord, I love this, that for every barrier that is put in your way, God will provide a Barnabas to help you along the way. Am I right or wrong? God will send somebody to see about you, because God knows your heart. He knows that you are his instrument. The plotters and the haters can be hating on you, but you just keep on praying. Keep on praying, because God answers prayer. When you pass through the water, I'll be with you. Keep on praying. When you pass through the flood, they shall not harm you. Keep on praying. Keep on praying. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned. Keep on praying. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Keep on praying. Keep on believing. Keep on trusting. God will see you through. He'll make a way out of no way. He's able to lift you when you're torn down. Have I got a witness? He's a good God anyhow. Every now and then, you gotta call his name. Every now and then, God will fix it. Have I got a witness? He'll bring you through. He'll make a way. Yeah. Is he all right? Is he all right? Is he all right? Every now and then, the God I serve, when your life has changed, everybody may not be clapping, everybody may not be saying hallelujah, but all you got to do is tell God. He'll walk with you. He'll talk with you. He'll be your guide. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody here know him for yourself? Anybody here know him as a way maker? Anybody here know him as a heart fixer? Tell your neighbor he's all right with me. Tell your neighbor he changed my life. And since he changed my life, I haven't been the same. I haven't been the same. See, you don't know like I know what the Lord has done for me. And you can't tell it. When they thought they had me down, they counted me out. See, I got my own testimony. When folk lied on me, people who sit in the same pew with me, who lied on me, tried to get me put down. But God is my refuge and my strength, a very present help in the time of trouble. And I was out there by myself. Yeah, I got my own testimony. I got my own testimony. I had people all over the world praying for me. And when I say all over the world, I mean literally all over the world. Everybody praying. Folk in Africa, England, on the West Coast, the East Coast, the South. I said, Lord, I know all these people get a prayer from. Man told me to say, I want you to report to the penitentiary on Monday. I said, well, all these people praying. I know they're going to get a prayer through. And I believe God that he's going to answer their prayer. As a matter of fact, I did one of those Hezekiah. I turned my face to the wall and I began to pray. And I just knew God was going to answer my prayer. I said, wait a minute, they're gonna call in a minute and say you don't have to go.